Okay. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you so much for tuning in. Um, Let me offer some invocation prayers and then we can discuss chapter 9 of Canto 7 today. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधार शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदम हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So Hare Krishna, dear devotees. In the previous session, we had discussed chapter 8 of 7th canto, entitled Lord Narasimhadev Slays the King of the Demons. So in that chapter, we had discussed how the sons of demons were getting advanced in Krishna consciousness, following the teachings of Prahlad Maharaj. Seeing this, Shanda and Amarka, the teachers of these boys, they were afraid, very much afraid. And they then approached Hiranyakashipu and described the entire situation. And Hiranyakashipu became very angry at Prahlad, and this time he decided to kill Prahlad. And then, he asked Prahlad, because Prahlad was repeatedly saying that the Lord is all pervading, Lord is existing everywhere, and showing the pillar within the assembly hall. Hiranyakashipu asked Prahlad, is your Lord in the pillar, in this pillar? And if not, I will break the pillar now. If not, then I will kill you. So seeing this, Hiranyakashipu struck the column with his fist. And then Lord Narasimhadev appeared from that pillar to prove the words spoken by Prahlad Maharaj are truth or true. Prahlad said that Lord existed everywhere. That's why Lord appeared from that pillar to prove Prahlad Maharaj words are correct. And at the same time, he wanted to protect, save Prahlad Maharaj. And later, and there was a fight between Narasimhadev and Prahlad Hiranyakashipu, and Narasimhadev kills Hiranyakashipu, keeping the promises, the Brahma gave him the boons, he kept them intact, and he did not even violate any of them. And keeping the boons of Brahma intact, Narasimhadev killed Hiranyakashipu, and then and there were other demons. They were also approaching Narsingadev, and Lord also killed them all with his finger nails. And the demigods in the sky and all other beings, the from the higher planetary system, they were watching this wonderful show, and they were very happy to see the demon being killed by the Lord, and they showered flowers and they beat the kettle drums, and they offered prayers to pacify and to glorify the Lord. All of them, there were a number of beings there, various being Lord Brahma offered prayers, Lord Shiva, King Indra, and other saintly persons, inhabitants of Pitruloka, inhabitants of Siddhaloka, inhabitants of Vidyadhar Loka, inhabitants of Nagaloka, Manus, and various progenitors and inhabitants of Gandharva Loka, Charana Loka, Yaksha Loka, Kimpursha Loka, and also the inhabitants of Vaikunta also offered Kinnaras, and the associates of Lord Vishnu in Vaikunta. They all offered prayers to the Lord. Hmm. However, Lord was not satisfied. And so we will continue in this chapter. Um, so this chapter is entitled Prahlada pacifies Lord Narsingadev with prayers. Um, so if anyone is in a position to read, we will just read first 7 verses and we will discuss the rest of the chapter. Let me know if you're in a position to read today. Okay, Meena Jatani Mataji, first 7 verses, please, of chapter 9. I can't hear you, Meena Mataji.
Sorry. The great saint Narad Muni continued, the demigods, headed by Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and other great demigods, dared not come forward before the Lord, who at that time was extremely angry. The goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Ji, was requested to go before the Lord by all the demigods present, who, because of fear, could not do so. But even she had never seen such a wonderful and extraordinary form of the Lord, and thus she could not approach him. Thereafter, Lord Brahma requested Prahlad Maharaj, who was standing very near him, my dear son, Lord Nrsimhadev is extremely angry at your demoniac father. Please go forward and appease the Lord. Narad Muni continued, O king, although the exalted devotee Prahlad Maharaj was only a little boy, he accepted Lord Brahma's words. He gradually proceeded toward Lord Nrsimhadev and fell down to offer his respectful obeisances with folded hands. When Lord Nrsimhadev saw the little boy Prahlad Maharaj prostrated at the soles of his lotus feet, he became most ecstatic in affection toward his devotee. Raising Prahlad, the Lord placed his lotus hand upon the boy's head because his hand is always ready to create fearlessness in all of his devotees. By the touch of Lord Nrsimhadev's hand on Prahlad Maharaj's head, Prahlad was completely freed of all material contamination and desires, as if he had been thoroughly cleansed. Therefore, he at once became transcendently situated, and all the symptoms of ecstasy became manifest in his body. His heart filled with love and his eyes with tears, and thus he was able to completely capture the lotus feet of the Lord within the core of his heart. Prahlad Maharaj fixed his mind and sight upon Lord Nrsimhadev with full attention and complete trance. With a fixed mind, he began to offer prayers in love with a faltering voice. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Mataji. So Let me show a couple of pictures. After killing Hiranyakashipu, Lord Nrsimhadev was still angry, and he went and sat on the throne of Hiranyakashipu in the assembly hall, and he was still angry even after all the uh, demigods and other beings, great personalities offered prayers. So seeing this, Lord Brahma, headed by other demigods, they actually requested Mother Lakshmi to go and pacify the Lord Nrsimhadev. It is mentioned here, she did not go forward. And uh, why she did not go forward? The answer is actually because here Prahalad needs to be glorified. Hmm? Um, this form of Nrsimhadev eternally exists in the spiritual world. Hmm? And all the avatars are eternally exist in the spiritual world. They only descend when it is needed. Huh? So, Lord of the form of Nrsimhadev eternally exists. Mother Lakshmi had seen it. Hmm? And it is an eternal form. But however, she did not go forward, and even Lord was not satisfied with the prayers by others. The reason is the Prahlad needs to be glorified. Here, in this particular place, Lord appeared for the sake of Prahlad. So he needs to be glorified. He needs to be put forward. Hmm? And but the same Prahlad Maharaj, in Vamandev's story, where Bali Maharaj, where Bali Maharaj fully surrendered to Vamandev, that time he took a back seat, and Bali Maharaj offered prayers like that. So yeah, um, and then when Lakshmi did not go, Lord Brahma said Prahlad to go forward and pacify Lord Nrsimhadev. Um, so this Prahlad, you see here in this picture, is going towards the throne where Lord Nrsimhadev sat upon. Um, and he went. First, he actually offered, he fell at the lotus feet of Lord Nrsimhadev. Um, and Nrsimhadev raised Prahlad and placed his lotus hand on top of his head. You see here in this picture. Uh, and this lotus hand, so that same hand creates fear. He killed with that hand, he killed his father Hiranyakashipu. And with that hand is giving fearlessness. For someone it causes fear. For demons the hand causes fear, and whereas for devotees it causes fearlessness. Same hand. So ye yatamam prapadyante tam sataiva bhajamyam. As you worship, as you approach me, I will reward. I will reward accordingly. Mm. So, and when touched, upon being touched by Lord Nrsimhadev, Prahlad Maharaj attained Divya Jnana, and he was able to offer beautiful prayers. Anybody remember something similar in the fourth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam? Um, wherein the Lord touches with his conch shell, and then the devotee was able to offer prayers. Anybody remembers the pastime?
Dhruva Maharaj, is it?
Excellent, Dhruva Maharaj. So Dhruva Maharaj was only 5-year-old, similar age of Prahlad Maharaj. He went to Vrindavan, and he met Narada Muni on his way. Same guru. They are god brothers. Same spiritual master, Narada Muni. Hmm? We are also in the parampara, Narada. Brahma to Narada, Narada to Vyasa, Vyasa to Madhva, and we are in the Madhva line. Hmm? And within after performing 6 months of severe devotion, intense devotion, Lord appeared, and he was not able to offer prayers. And seeing the awkward position of Dhruva Maharaj, Lord Vishnu just touched his conch to the head of Dhruva Maharaj, just like that, touched the head of Dhruva Maharaj. And then he could understand everything, and he offered beautiful prayers. Hmm? Um, right. So these prayers, there are several prayers from text 8 till around 50 verses, until 50, I guess. Um, so there are number of prayers. We will not be able to discuss um, pray, dis, discussing prayers. Each prayer takes its own class because there is a philosophy involved. So we will be selecting certain prayers and reading only the selected prayers offered by um, Prahlad Maharaj. So text 8. So this is the first prayer he offered. Shri Praharadau Vacha Brahmadaya Suragana Munayota Siddha. Let me think. Brahmadaya Suragana Munayota Siddha Satvaikata Nagatayo Vachasam Pravahai Naraditum Purugunair Adhuna Pipipruhu Kim Toshtumarhati Same Harir Ugrajate. So, is this particular verse shows his humility, how humble Prahlad Maharaj is. Here he's saying, beginning from Brahma and other Devata, Suragana, there are other highly, elevated beings in this assembly. They could not satisfy you, those who are in Sattvagun and above Sattvagun. But how come, I am Ugrajate? I was born in a family of Asura. How am I able to please you, my Lord? Kim tostu maharahati? How am I able to please, oh my Lord? I am born in a demonic family. So he's not. This shows his humility, and so Prabhupada writes. A pure Vaishnava actually thinks himself in this way. Similarly, although Prahlad Maharaj was a pure exalted Vaishnava, he thought himself most unqualified to offer prayers to the Supreme Lord. His thinking is unqualified. Mahajano yenagata sapantha. Every pure Vaishnava should think like this. One should not be falsely proud of his Vaishnava qualifications. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has therefore instructed us, Trunadapi Suni Chena Tarorapi Sahishnuna Amani Namana Dena Kirtaniya Sadahari. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree devoid of all sense of false prestige. One should be ready to offer all respects. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. Unless one is meek and humble, to make progress in the spiritual life is very difficult. Mm. So this particular verse shows he is considering himself very unqualified. So then Prahlad Maharaj says here that the material qualifications will not be able to, one will not be able to please the Lord with the material qualifications and material talents. However, one can only please the Lord bhaktya tutosha. Lord will be pleased by bhakti. And just like Gajayutapaya, means just like Gajendra. Although Gajendra was an elephant, an animal, um, Gajendra could pacify the Lord because Gajendra had that bhakti, own devotion. Otherwise, one cannot be able to please the Lord. One may be a great demigod, a great personality, human being, and other great demigod. Unless one has devotion, one will not be able to please the Lord. One may possess the wealth, one may belong to aristocratic family, and one may be beautiful, and one may undergo severe austerities, education, luster, influence, physical strength, um, intelligence, mystic yoga. uh, but the qualification, these are not the qualifications. Mm. One cannot satisfy with this qualification, one cannot satisfy the Lord. Mm. Um, so, yeah, so then number 10. We will, yeah, we will select certain prayers. Mm. विप्राद्विषड्गुणयुतादरविन्दनाभा पादारविन्दविमुखात् स्वपचं वरिष्ठं मन्ये तदर्पितमनोवचने प्राणं पुनाति सकुलं न तु भूरिमाना. A Brahmana may possess several qualities, 12 Brahmanical qualities that are there in the scripture. But if he is not a devotee, what is the use of such Brahmana? That, or what is the use of possessing such qualifications? On the other hand, Swapacham, Swapacham means even if one is born in a family of a dog or dog eaters, low family, Swapacham, if he had taken the lotus feet of the Lord and who had surrendered to the Lord, that person is better, Varishtam. On the other hand, this Brahmana, Vipra, who is not a devotee, who may possesses many qualities, who is not a devotee will not be able to deliver himself. What to speak of delivering others? He will not be able to purify himself. Again, glorifying bhakti here in this one. And it's not about the birth, it's not about your external qualifications, it is about uh, our sincere devotion to the Lord that counts. Hmm. Um, let me see if I had noted down anything. Yeah, move on. Yeah, so in the text 11, when we offer prayers, Prahlad Maharaj says actually, you are not doing a favor to the Lord by offering, by glorifying. We are actually getting benefited. It's not the Lord. Lord is Atmaram, is always satisfied. Hmm? But offering prayers and hearing about him, rendering devotion, don't we should not think that we are doing favor to the Lord. No, but we are favoring ourselves. We are favoring ourselves. Mm. Just like here, to give an example, if one's face is decorated, the reflection of the face in the mirror is also seen to be decorated. If we glorify the Lord, if we render devotion to the Lord, if we decorate the Lord, we get beautified. We are reflection, is reflection. Hmm? So the last sentence. In conclusion, the more we engage in Krishna consciousness and render service to the Lord, the more we benefit. Krishna does not need service from any of us. So this is one of the points that I wanted to highlight. We get benefited. Hmm. That's text 10, 11. So, and offering prayers actually purify us. Hmm. It's for our benefit, and offering prayers and hearing glories will actually glories of the Lord will purify us. And so then Prahlad Maharaj says, "Oh my Lord, please be um, peaceful, and please kindly give up your anger. My father had been killed, and please kindly give up your anger." And everyone, here seeing your fearsome form, all of all these people here present are afraid of you. However, my Lord Dev, I am not afraid of your fearful form. Hmm? um, so Oh, my Lord, who are never conquered by anyone, I am certainly not afraid of your ferocious mouth, tongue, your bright eyes like the sun, your um, eyebrows, and I do not fear your sharp, pinching teeth, your garland of intestines, your mane soaked with blood, or your high, wedge-like ears. Nor do I fear your tumultuous roaring, which makes elephants flee to distant places, or your nails, which are meant to kill your enemies. Hmm. Um, so Prahlad Maharaj says he's not afraid of uh, um, the seeing the fearful form of the Lord. Mm. Then Prahlad Maharaj says, however, I am afraid of this material conditioning. Uh, that is what I'm afraid of, my Lord. Um, you know, the conditioned life, being in the material world, I'm very much afraid of my conditioned life within this material world. Mm. Um, so, yeah, let me just see. Yeah, Lord Nrsimhadev fierce appearance was certainly most dangerous for the non-devotees. But for Prahlad Maharaj, such a fearful appearance was not at all disturbing. The lion is very fearsome for other animals, but its cubs are not at all afraid of the lion. Hmm? The water of the sea is certainly dreadful. So here the example is given. Lion, although is very fearsome for others, but for its cubs, it's not. Similarly, the ocean is big and the little fish is not afraid of that ocean. But however, the beings on the land, the ocean is, the beings on the land are afraid of the ocean. Even though the fish is small within the ocean, it is not afraid because it has taken shelter of that big ocean. Similarly, when we take shelter of the Lord, we can also be like that. So these are prayers. It will be like this only. We will be reading a selected one. And so then it talks about, Prahlad Maharaj says, now I would like to chant your glories in the association of devotees, in the parampara, uh, and following the footsteps of Lord Brahma and other personalities. And in this way, I shall undoubtedly able to cross the ocean of material existence. So this is one point. Please remember that we have to render devotion following in the footsteps of the acharyas. That is the best method to cross over this material ocean. And in text 19, Prahlad Maharaj says, my Lord Nrsimhadev was supreme. Because of the bodily conception of life, embodied souls neglected and not cared for by you cannot do anything for their betterment. Whatever remedies they accept, although perhaps temporary, beneficial, or certainly impermanent. For example, a father and mother cannot protect their child. A physician and medicine cannot relieve a suffering of patient. And a boat on the ocean cannot protect a drowning man. So here, although the father and mother appear to be the protectors, guardians of the child, but the real protector is Nrsimhadev, if the Supreme Lord. If Lord do not want to offer protection, then they will not be able to do anything. Although sometimes, by a medical treatment, one may prolong the life of a person. But however, if Lord decides, then they would not be able to do it. Ultimately, it's not the medicine, it's the Lord uh, that is acting there. That's what Prahlad Maharaj says. You are the real protector. Hmm. So then we will. So for a change, okay, so our Disha Mataji, can you read the translation of this 23rd verse?
Yes, Prabhuji. My dear Lord, people in general want to be elevated to the higher planetary systems for a long duration of life, opulence, and enjoyment. But I have seen all of this through the activities of my father. When my father was angry and he laughed sarcastically at the demigods, they were immediately vanquished simply by seeing the movements of his eyebrows. Yet my father, who was so powerful, has now been vanquished by you within a moment.
So let's do the 24th fourth also won't. Okay. So here, yeah. Mataji, can you mute yourself? Thank you. Yeah. So here Prahlad Maharaj says that what is the use of these acquiring these powers and being elevated to the higher planets? He gives the example of his father, and who was very very powerful, and everybody was afraid of him, but he could not save himself. What does it mean? So indirectly he doesn't want anything, and he only wants the shelter of the Lord Narsingadev. Mm. All other things, other than the shelter of Narsingadev or Lord, are useless. Um, and Hiranyakashipu, he had all of them, but he was finished within a moment. Mm. And you can read this one also, Mataji, Jisha Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. My dear Lord, now I have complete experience concerning the worldly opulence, mystic power, longevity, and other material pleasures enjoyed by all living entities, from Lord Brahma down to the ant. As powerful time, you destroy them all. Therefore, because of my experience, I do not wish to possess them. My dear Lord, I request you to place me in touch with your pure devotee and let me serve him as a sincere servant.
Mm. Yeah. So please mute. Thank you. So here his request is that please place me in touch with your pure devotee and let me serve him as the sincere servant, because he noticed, he had seen how his father had suffered, um, even though having so much opulence and power. And the better thing is that only having association. So this should be our request also. Oh my Lord, please place me in touch with your devotees and let them serve. Hmm? um, so repeatedly mentions about this point, right? Hmm. So right, let me, yeah, go on. Let's read the next verse also, Mataji.
In this material world, every living entity desires some future happiness, which is exactly like a mirage in the desert. Where is water in the desert? Or, in other words, where is happiness in this material world? As for this body, what is its value? It is merely a source of various diseases. The so called philosophers, scientists, and politicians know this very well, but nonetheless they aspire for temporary happiness. Happiness is very difficult to obtain, but because they are unable to control their senses, they run after the so called happiness of the material world and never come to the right conclusion. Thank you.
Thank you. So here, um, so the best way to attain happiness is through controlling the senses, as one cannot stop blazing fire by constantly pouring ghee upon it. One cannot satisfy oneself by increasing plans for sense enjoyment. Mm. Um, we want to be happy in the material world, but this will never be possible. We shall simply increase the blazing fire of our desires. Our desires cannot be satisfied by illusory thoughts and plans. Rather, we have to follow the instructions of the Lord Krishna. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. I mean, we have to give up all varieties of religion and surrender to Krishna. Then we shall be happy. Otherwise, In the name of happiness, we shall continue to suffer miserable conditions. Yeah, so it is like a mirage, and there is no water in the mirage. And this body is also, a source of various diseases. And still, we want to increase the happiness. And there is no happiness here, just like there is no water in the mirage. Uh, so, better engage the senses in the service of the Lord. Hmm? Then we will have to skip some and then go to 38. Okay, Jishamata, you can read this one.
In this way, my Lord, you appear in various incarnations as a human being, an animal, a great saint, a demigod, and a fish or a tortoise, thus maintaining the entire creation in different planetary systems and killing the demoniac principles. According to the age, O my Lord, you protect the principles of religion. In this age of Kali, however, you do not assert yourself as a supreme personality of Godhead, and therefore you are known as Triyuga, or the Lord who appears in three yugas.
Yeah, thank you. So, yeah, in the previous verses to this, Prahlad Maharaj says that how Lord appeared in various forms to protect the devotees, annihilate the miscreants, and re-establish the religious principles. And it is mentioned here, Channa Kalau Yad Bhavas Triyugotha Tvam. So Lord is called Triyugi. And so in the Kali Yuga, it is mentioned Kalau Channa. Channa means covered. The Lord appeared. You see here the word Channa. Channa refers to covered, Kalau in the age of Kali. There is no direct incarnation of the Lord, or there are no pastime incarnations of the Lord in Kali Yuga. That's why Lord's another name is called Triyugi. He appears in three yugas. But however, he appears in Kali Yuga with a covered incarnation like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Hmm? So here it says, similarly, Lord Chaitanya appeared in order to protect the fallen souls of Kali Yuga. Hmm? So in this Yuga, Mahaprabhu usually, like when the Lord comes, he kills the miscreants. But this time, Lord Chaitanya doesn't want to kill the miscreants. He wants to benefit them, and he wants to deliver them. And if you want to kill the miscreant, no one will exist on the planet Earth. So that's why Mahaprabhu decided to actually benefit them by giving them and by requesting them to chant Hare Krishna mantra and eventually going back to Godhead. Hmm. So Mahaprabhu, whenever someone says you are Vishnu, you are Lord, you would close his ears, like that. And then, so 43 and 44, they are very, very nice verses. This is about preaching. And in 43, Prahlad Maharaj says that although he is happy in Krishna consciousness, he is unhappy to see the suffering of the other beings. So let's read 43. Let me share so we can take some lessons from this verse. Okay, Mataji, please read.
O best of the great personalities, I am not at all afraid of all material existence, for wherever I stay, I am fully absorbed in thoughts of your glories and activities. My concern is only for the fools and rascals who are making elaborate plans for material happiness and maintaining their families, societies, and countries. I am simply concerned with love for them.
So here Prahlad Maharaj says he is not worried about the material existence. For devotee, wherever he is, he makes that place Vaikunta. When Prabhupada came from Vrindavan to America, he transformed that place into Vrindavan. A pure devotee carries the Lord within the heart, within the core of his heart. And wherever the devotee goes, that place becomes a pilgrimage. So Prahlad Maharaj says, I'm happy that way. I'm not bothered about this material existence because I'm fully absorbed in your thoughts. But however, I'm happy in that way. But however, my concern, I have a serious concerns. These beings around me, they are fully engaged in the materialistic activities and they are suffering. So I am concerned about them. Then they are making elaborate plans for material happiness. Hmm. So that's why I'm very much concerned about these people. Let me see. I would like to read these two sentences. Prahlad Maharaj was happy and unhappy simultaneously. He felt happiness and transcendental bliss because of his being Krishna conscious. Yet he felt great unhappiness for the fools and rascals who make elaborate plans to be happy in this material world. So a devotee is paradukka dukhi. That means they see the other suffering as their own suffering. And that's the reason seeing the people around, um, so making elaborate plans and not engaging in the devotional service of the Lord, they're suffering. So that's why Prahlad Maharaj was very unhappy and he was very much concerned. Hmm. So Prabhupada also, he was, he could have just happily lived in Vrindavan, but he is concerned about these people in the West, where there is, of course, and now it's everywhere same, but that time Prabhupada decided to come to West because the East was following in the footsteps of West. So, and that's why Prabhupada came here. And next one is a very beautiful verse. You can all memorize it if possible. प्रायेण देवमुनया स्वविमुक्तिकामा मौनं चरन्ति विजनेन परार्थनिष्ठाः नैतान् विहाय कृपणान् विमुमुक्षये को नान्यं त्वदस्य शरणं भ्रमतोऽनुपश्ये. So, Prayena Deva Munaya. Almost all Munayaha sages, saintly people, what do? Swavimukti Kama. They are interested in their own deliverance. Most saintly people are interested in only in their own self liberation, and not caring for the people in general. That's why what do they do? They go to places like Himalayas and they follow Mauna Vrata, practice silence, and they don't care about Pararthanishta. They don't worry about other beings. They avoid cities, they avoid towns, they avoid the people in general. They want to live on their own, and Swavimukti Kama, they want to liberate themselves, self-interest. They want to get away from this world. But however, my Lord, I want to live in town because, these people, I want to bring all these hmm, Krupanan. The word Krupanan is transferred differently many times. Let's see. Here, Krupanan means those who are engaged in materialistic activities who do not know the benefit of human form of life. So all these people, I want to bring them to your lotus feet. Unless until they come to your lotus feet, they will not be happy. They will not be happy. My job is to live in the town, live in the live among the people, in the midst of people, and educate them. And he did this, right? In the school, whenever he got a little break, he was preaching Krishna consciousness. And they were these, sons of demons were getting advanced in the spiritual life. So this is talking about preaching. So let's read the translation. I've explained to you, but however, please, Dishamata, you want to read the translation?
My dear Lord Narsimhadev, I see that there are many saintly persons indeed, but they are interested only in their own deliverance, not caring for the big cities and towns. They go to the Himalayas or the forest to meditate with vows of silence, Maunavavrata. They are not interested in delivering others. As for me, however, I do not wish to be liberated alone, leaving aside all these poor fools and rascals. I know that without Krishna consciousness, without taking shelter of your lotus feet, one cannot be happy. Therefore, I wish to bring them back to shelter at your lotus feet.
So, yeah, please, when you go home, this is text 44 of 9th chapter. Please go and read the purport. Hmm? And our Prabhupada is also, example. He followed Prahlad Maharaj. In many respects, he was like, he is like our Prahlad Maharaj. Hmm? And he was not afraid in being situated in difficult situations, completely living in new place, in the new culture, among new people, and crazy people, living among crazy people. He was not afraid. He was like Prahlad Maharaj. He was very fearless, Abhay. And he also, um, he was perfect example of this verse. Mm. And yeah, this is a beautiful verse. And so what we have to do is, some or other, we are also lucky that we got some of this because of Prabhupada's. Um, so we should also give this to others. Thus, Krishna consciousness person avoids all kinds of pseudo spiritualists. So that's not the one. Yeah. Okay. So this way, Prahlad Maharaj offered various prayers to Lord Narsingh and Lord Narsingh um, he became pacified after hmm, being offered prayers by Prahlad Maharaj. And then Lord spoke as follows. Um, hmm, So Lord gave up his anger and being very kind to Prahlad, who was offering prostrated obeisances, he spoke follows. And he says, I'm very much pleased with you. And usually, when I come to this material world, I offer benediction to my devotees. Huh? Um, so may you live long and And so please ask for a benediction from me. And so, and Prahlad Maharaj, however, um, though he was allured by the Supreme Lord to take a benediction, um, he was, you know, uh, he did not he did not want to take a material benediction. Did not want to take any material benefit for sense gratification. Mm. He simply wants to remain as an eternal servant of the Lord. He says that you are my master, I am your servant. It's not a business. In business, there is an exchange. I give something, you give me something back. But here, my Lord, I don't need anything. Huh? So we will see that in the next chapter. Um, so even though he was asked by the Lord to take a benediction, because he was firmly fixed in Krishna consciousness, he did not want to take any material benefit for his sense gratification. That's how this chapter ends. So this chapter is entitled Prayers by Prahlad Maharaj, and Prahlad Maharaj pacifies Lord Nrsimhadev. And after killing Hiranyakashipu, Lord was still not. Mm, After killing Hiranyakashipu, Lord Nrsimhadev was still not pacified. And seeing the situation, Brahma requested Mother Lakshmi to go. However, Lakshmi decided not to go. So, Prahlad should be glorified in this instant. Brahma then requests Prahlad Maharaj to go forward and offer prayers and pacify the Lord. And Prahlad Maharaj, he was only a little boy when everyone is being afraid of the Lord, seeing that fearful form. Prahlad Maharaj was only a little boy, but he moved forward without any fear and went to the throne, and he fell at the lotus feet. On the lotus feet of Lord Nrsimhadev. Lord Nrsimhadev raised Prahlad Maharaj and placed his lotus hand. Um, and then by being touched by the lotus hand of the Lord, he received Brahma Jnan, Divya Jnan, and with that he was able to offer suitable prayers to the Lord. The majority, the major section of this chapter consists of this offering prayers by Prahlad Maharaj to Lord Nrsimhadev. And after offering prayers, various prayers, Lord was very much pacified, and he blessed Prahlad Maharaj, and he asked Prahlad Maharaj to take a benediction. However, Prahlad Maharaj did not want to take any benediction for material sense gratification. Hmm. So that's how this chapter ends. And Krishna willing, we will meet again next Thursday and do the chapter 10. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Shri Prahlad Maharaj ki Jai, Shri Nrsimhadev Bhagavan ki Jai, Nitai Gaura Premanandi. Hari Hari.
Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna,
Hari Hari
Prabhuji.
Bol.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you.
Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.